This is ITV.
Certainly the best.
Hello, welcome to Viewpoint on ITV. I am Caroline Okonji. According to the new law on kidnapping passed by the Edo State House of Assembly and also signed by the Governor of Edo State, Governor Monday Okpeolo, on any house found being used for kidnapping activities will be demolished. For that reason, we're going to be going out on the street to sample people's opinion, hear what they have to say about the new law. It's a Viewpoint on ITV.
First, it's a good law. Let's put it there. It's a very good law. The law goes very far beyond, apart from kidnapping, even sponsors of kidnapping, sponsors of courtesan activities, they've all been captured by this law, such that persons can now fall the persons that can fall prey are wider than what it used to be. But again, that law on its own will put more jeopardy or put more persons in jeopardy as it is right now, because you can't really tell what your tenant is doing in your house. That's why in these days of building houses and leaving it to tenants where you don't have landlord living there, it's not every time the landlord lives there. I have houses that I manage today that I only visit maybe twice a year. The owners are outside this country, they are abroad. I put tenants there. I have given them the place. They are within their rights by law to enjoy peaceful possession by law. So I cannot even go there and just say I want to open their door. That I suspect anything, I cannot. So you see, it's a law that we need to also look at the implementation. I would have thought that bringing in this law, we should also amend our tenancy laws. We should amend our housing laws such that if you suspect, not even the landlord alone, if anybody in the street suspect that the persons living in that house, they are carrying out activities that fall under this law, those people can have proper recourse, people they can recourse to, and report to, and remove such persons from there before it becomes a situation where the house itself has to go. Because sometimes you punish the house owner, and the house owner has no inkling, and even if he has an inkling, there was nothing he could have done. I have dealt with a case of the landlord was in Lagos, but he got information that one of his tenants was bringing firearms to the house. He got information from another tenant who pleaded to be anonymous because of security, because he was afraid of his life and that of his children. So he called landlord, please, oh, this boy, I saw him, they were taking firearms into his room. So the landlord came to me, he wants this boy out by all means, but I cannot force him out. I have to go through the legal procedure, serve him notice, the required notice, and notice sometimes can be long. In this case, he needed 6 months because it's a 1-year tenant that had no tenancy agreement. So what happens if within that period of my notice he is caught in kidnapping or in courtesy? So there are so many things that we need to put in if this law must work, because it's a good law. But like I said, we need to also bring in persons who have operated under this environment before and to tell us what they feel can be done to better operate that law. Firstly, if you go to the police, they don't have records, so remove police from the issue. They don't have records. But let us even look at it from another perspective. How do you profile these people? You profile them today, they bring another person tomorrow. I have a tenant I've been trying to eject for more than 6 months, no more than a year. Each time we file, before the matter gets to the stage of judgment, they change one of the members of the court. We have to start de novo. We started de novo in the matter. My matter has been struck out twice. Why this matter was going on? So it's been more than a year I've been trying to eject a tenant. What happened is that the person who came here to take let of that property is a man with a wife. They look responsible. He gave me his business card and everything. He said, oh, this is a good person to give a house to. But when I started visiting the house, I have never seen that much. He has never lived there for 1 day. He took let of that place and placed his mother there, his siblings who are all rejected from different families, maybe the ones who married, the marriage didn't work out, the ones who were working somewhere and they stole and they were driven, just loaded them in that place like a refugee camp. That's what they are doing in that house. There's no person. The person I gave the property to is not there, and I cannot just jump into the house and force them out. I must go through the proper procedure. See, that is why I say again, we need to amend our tenancy laws. It's long overdue. The tenancy law we are using here, we inherited them from the white people, the British people, and these people we inherited these things from, we copied from. Let me not use inherit. We copied from these people. They have amended their own several such that today, if you want to eject a tenant from a house, you no longer need to go to court, because this is our system of you have to go to court, you have to give notice and go to court. It's too long. We can have a simpler system that says, oh, before you issue notice, come and take the notice from court, so that we know that you actually issued it. Go to court, pay for the notice in court, let the court believe, go and serve it. Once the period expires, if it's 1 month, if it's 2 months, if it's 3 months, as the law provides for, once the period expires, the court belief will go and eject the person without having to come through trial system anymore.
First and foremost, I must commend the House for the law they passed. Also for the governor to assent to it. Kidnapping is rampant because there are connivance. There can be no kidnapping where there is no place to keep the victims. If a house is used as an object to aid the offense and the kidnapper is sentenced to death, why should the house exist? It's like saying an armed robber is convicted for robbery, but the gun he used can be given back to the owner. They are what they call instrument used for the commission of the crime. They should go. As long as there is no place to keep kidnapped victims, people will not indulge in it. Most of these landlords know what they are doing. You see a man who has no job, want to pay you a house of 500, is prepared to pay you 2 million. You don't find a source of job. Where did you work? You have no job, you have no wife, you have no child. You are only interested in the money. I think it's a welcome development. So people will now be cautious before they give out houses to people. I saw the one they did in Ile, saw the one they did in Onwa and in Rumi, and on the television. In the television, I think this is a welcome development. It's like those days under the custom law. Any instrument a motor used to drive goods that are not licensed forfeited to the federal government. I don't see anything wrong with it. Let them demolish them so that people will be cautious. At least, this is not kidnapping is a menace in the society. If you can go to the camps and destroy the camps where the Fulani are staying in the bush, why not destroy the one they are using in the town? I think the landlord should ask the property tenants to go and depose to affidavit and give a copy to the police if there is any reason to protect the landlord. What job do you do? What's your age? Where do you work? Perhaps, I know if a lawyer wanted to get an office in Benin, the landlord said, I want a senior lawyer to certify that you are of good character. I have to, personally, because to undertake that is of a good character before the landlord gave him the house. And that is the essence of it all. The idea of overnight riches, kidnapping, it's not best of it all. I think people, before you give a house, tell the people, go and depose to affidavit for the job you do, give a copy to the DP of your area so that I can be protected. In the absence of that, you are not accomplished.
The recent law that will be passed by those state House of Assembly that tend to checkmate and address the activities of criminals in the states, ranging from kidnappers, armed robbers, cultists, etc. It's a very sensitive and at the same time a complex issue that we are dealing with. Again, everything that have advantage has disadvantages. This law perhaps were made in good faith. There is one thing to make law, there is another thing to implement these laws. I want to advise that these laws should be implemented with human face. Like I said, if any property, as is stated in the law, is used to carry out crime, it should be well investigated before actions of demolition can be carried out. Because it is possible that a criminal, being a kidnapper, could be residing in a house of persons who is not in any way involved in the said crime. For instance, if I'm a landlord, I rent an apartment to a tenant, I don't know what that tenant do. Perhaps the tenant is a civil servant. We have seen a uniformed person, security personnel like the police or army personnel involving in kidnapping and armed robbing. If as a landlord you now rent an apartment to such person, should you have anything to worry about? No. But if unfortunately the person now indulge in criminality, should that mean my house should be destroyed? It's a very big issue, and we are very concerned about this aspect because it could happen to anybody. So as such, we are advising that the government should enforce this law with human face, not to enforce it with any intention to victimize anybody. And before there should be any form of demolition of any house, there are procedural processes of investigating crime. There are aspects that the judiciary, the court will have to come in to find a person guilty. You can't just say Comrade Curtis Ogbebo is alleged of kidnapping and you just carry out such an exercise to carry out a dozer to go and put down my house when the process is provided for in the law has not been followed. The process of investigating me, if I'm directly involved in the crime, try me in a court, giving me an opportunity to defend myself in court. It is only when I am found guilty that such action can be carried out on me. When that is not done, I don't think such actions is just enough. It negates the procedures, the procedural norm provided for in the law for prosecuting crime. So in all, while the government is making efforts to checkmate, to reduce the crime or deal with crime, the government should also consider the innocent persons that could be victimized in the process. So we advise that the government follow due process in fighting criminality in the state and other parts of the country. Nigeria as a country does not have a database that contains the information of the citizens. So from where and how are they going to document or profile tenants? If I'm being invited by a landlord or by security personnel, is it not what I tell them that they will document? If they ask me where I work, I tell them I work XYZ, I run a personal business. What mechanism, technology does the government have to do verification? So to me, that could be a mere eye service, an exercise in futility, because the government over time have not deemed it necessary to collate the database of every Nigeria like it is in other civilized and sane society. So it's going to be, like I said, it's a very sensitive and complex issue. So the government have to take step by step to address this issue so that we don't exacerbate and the process victimize innocent persons.
The issue of kidnappers being dealt with by a way of maybe demolishing their houses when they are found guilty is a good one. But then I think the law enforcement need to do a thorough due diligence to ensure that the owner of this house, the person who owns this house, they have to investigate to ensure that they have done their investigations, and if perhaps they have not done their investigation, then the law can have its course. But if they find out that these persons have in any way tried to do their investigation before accepting these persons into their compound, they should find a way to help the situation, because we cannot tell somebody who have taken his time, maybe his hard-earned money, maybe even his last money to build a house, and then you demolish the house because the person gave it to a wrong person, and not the fault. I mean, it's not the fault of the owner of the house. So I would advise and I would suggest that yes, it's a good idea, but let's ensure that investigations are done properly, very properly, before anything of such is carried out. Because yes, some landlords will be aware, perhaps because they've had agreement or understanding with these kidnappers, and they will not overlook it. because of the money that they are getting. So if you find them guilty, I agree that their houses should be demolished totally.
I want to first and foremost commend the State House of Assembly for taking the bull by the horn, because kidnapping has assumed a very worrisome dimension. At the onset, it was like kidnapping expatriates, and then they proceeded to a large-scale kidnapping citizens. Now it is like kidnapping the poor, even the poor of the poorest. And that, of course, is a call to a serious action from the side of the government. But be that as it may, we should not forget that there are factors that necessitate this action behind the persons who are going into that venture of kidnapping, because it is now becoming a business to some persons, forgetting that they should be aware that kidnapping is a crime and every crime must be punished. And so that is why I said I want to give kudos to the House of Assembly for being able to come up with this laudable idea of passing a death sentence. I think that is a bit okay. But looking at the aspect of demolishing the houses where these kidnappers used to keep their victim, I want to say that first and foremost, some of these kidnappers may not keep their victim in a house where they themselves have rented. They can use some abandoned building, they can use some dilapidating houses, and at most time the owner may not even be aware that their houses are being used. So I think the government should look at that portion critically, because when I saw, I think through the social media, the demolition of a house in Uromi, where the kidnapper were using as a hideout, or where they were keeping their victims, I felt, it may be good, but if the owner does not authorize the kidnapper using his own place for such, I think that area should be looked into by the government, especially with this our present day, investigating aspect. They want to carry out quick prosecution, and sometimes the investigation may be so shoddy that they cannot even go to the extent of getting the view of the owner of the house if he actually was aware that such person is using the house for kidnapping purposes. Again, I think it will put every landlord on their toes, so that in case you are bringing somebody into your house, you should be able to look at his character and what he's doing for a living. And like some person said, he should be profiled, involving the police to actually look at this person, how he makes his money, what business he's doing, before you can actually give out your house to persons for use or for rent. Especially a house where you don't live as a landlord or a landlady. You should be able not just give it to agents and then allow the agent to do some fast job because they need their own agency fee, and put people of questionable character. I want to say here and now that the government should do more than what they have done now by looking at the factors that necessitate kidnapping.
We are happy first that we have a government that is putting things in place to help check insecurity, because the issue of kidnapping had gone beyond the ordinary. So every responsible government will want to put everything in place, in short, to control it. And with the new law, more especially the one that is a little bit causing for worry for some, especially landlords who give out houses to people. Some may tell you I'm a dry cleaner, and at the end of the day he or she does something else. And some are informal to kidnapper, some are not even physical at the point of kidnapping, but they are the main masterminder. It's quite unfortunate that it does happen like that, but the also thing is that somebody must also pay a price. And that is going to put everyone on his toe, that you must not know the people you give house to. And in some cases, I think the law would have gone further to investigating the property of the parents of those people. If the person is a tenant somewhere, and you can really find out this is his father's house, this is his mother's house, if he does not have his own house, maybe the demolition should go towards those properties instead of the one that sometimes the landlord gives out his house through an agent, through a lawyer, and the landlord lives in Lagos, lives in Abuja. All you just do, because we now have a new tenancy system where you consult an agent that I want to lease my house, and you are far away, you are abroad, you build a house here, a lawyer helps you to give house to people. All that they are concerned about is getting their own agent fee, and they give the house out. At the end of the day, you now say one of the tenants was a kidnapper and the house is being demolished, and someone somewhere in UK have been working in mortuary, doing restaurant work, doing some very mini job to get that property done. It really can be painful. But I think there should be a furtherance to this. There should be some clause to be amended at this level. I think so, because just a law that has been passed and it can as well be amended to advancing it first, profiling after getting the corporate, profiling the person's parents' property. If he or she doesn't have, then that property can be faced first. More especially in the cases where the landlord does not even reside there. It will be understandable that you don't expect where I don't stay, I should know more about the activities of the person staying there. So being a fan of the governor, I appreciate what he has just done and the House of Assembly for passing this and the governor assigning it. But I think we can go further by what I have just said, so that those who are not in any way involved will not be a casualty. But if it's the property of the person that is involved, that he has a property, no question should be asked. They can go there and demolish it the next day. But in a situation whereby somebody is renting someone's house, the landlord does not stay there, or he knows that somebody says he's a medical doctor and he's renting my house and he pays my own fee, that is all that people are really concerned about. So please, I think there should be some amendments to that section. I think the government can have, a direct intelligence team attached to government house, either the office of the special advisor to the governor on security matters, or maybe another department within government that have to do with security. Then those consultants are just there and they are experts on this, and they will be independent people, not Nigeria police. I think the police is overwhelmed with a lot of issues. Adding this to their own, they can just even be in a hurry and get the possible result in order for them to go back to the office and continue with the normal case they have in their table. So I think independent security consultants can be better, if not the DSSS being involved.
So far so good. We've heard all they have to say about the new law on kidnapping being passed by the Edo State House of Assembly, especially in the aspect of landlords profiling their tenants before giving them house. Some are of the opinion that it is achievable, while some are saying it is not achievable. But in all we need to do as citizens is to put our hands together and work with the state government to be able to achieve this single purpose. It is Viewpoint on ITV. I am Caroline Okonji. Bye for now.
This is ITV.
Certainly the best.
ITV, certainly the best.